guys, welcome back to another episode of Horror Huddle. I'm Stacy Beth, and Ash is here as always.
Howdy.
Today we're going to be talking about 2001's From Hell. Ooh. Not really horror, more of a mystery thriller, as they call it, but I think it should be included nonetheless because there's a lot of kills and it's awesome. I'm sure a lot of y'all have seen it and already know about it. It is directed by the Hughes Brothers, who have done Menace to Society and Dead Presidents. So, you know, those are already pretty violent movies, so you can tell that this one's going to be just as violent, and it was. It didn't disappoint.
But definitely a change of, genres.
Yeah,
quite a
totally, but it completely worked. So it stars Johnny Depp, and he plays Inspector Aberline. Heather Graham as Mary Kelly, a prostitute. Ian Holmes, Sir William Gull, who was a physician to the Queen.
Yep.
I don't know his real name, but I just put him down as Hagrid. He played Hagrid in Harry Potter. He plays Aberline's assistant.
That guy. Yeah, he's been.
Sergeant. He plays Sergeant Godley, and of course, Jason Fleming. Everybody kind of knows him from Snatch and stuff like that. Stock and Two Smoking Barrels and stuff. He played Netley. He was the coach driver, and he was kind of like the stooge, I guess, you know. And Ian Richardson, who I wrote down as the Grey Poupon guy. He was the dude in the commercials. He played Aberline's superior. So those are
Let me just say before we film this, that was the first time I ever heard about it. She's like, "Oh yeah, the Grey Poupon guy." I was like, "Really?"
Mm-hmm.
Is that crazy?
Yeah. So there's a lot more characters, obviously, but those are the main ones throughout. So it's loosely based on the graphic novel From Hell, which was written by Alan Moore and Eddie Campbell. And I believe I saw that it was done between 86 and 90 something, or 89 and 90. So it had a long run. And we both discussed that we never read them before. But now that I kind of realized it was, I kind of want to go read them.
And once you watch the movie, you can tell that it was based on a graphic novel.
You can see some scenes that could have definitely been
the color schemes that change between scenes, and also some that you can tell were lifted right off the page.
Yeah, which is really cool. So it just makes me wonder how interesting the graphic novel could be, you know, especially if they've got multiple stories behind it, you know. But so the movie was a good length of time. It was 2 hours and 2 minutes. And,
yeah.
I mean, I think it was great because that was a perfect time because, you know, the story they needed to tell could not be done in an hour and a half.
Not an hour and a half. They might have been able to trim a few scenes.
Yeah.
But even then,
I feel like even then you might feel a little jilted if some scenes were taken out. Well, so anyways, if you don't know, it follows this certain theory about Jack the Ripper. And it's being investigated by Inspector Aberline, who's this psychic detective, which I'm not mistaken.
Well, not psychic, a druggie who has vision.
But you never know if he is clairvoyant or if it's his damn drugs. But anywho, he actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was the actual guy on the real case, him and Godley. But I read that him and Godley actually didn't work together like they're portrayed in the movie as kind of being like buds and stuff. They actually didn't work together. And that's what it is. And, great reveals towards the end and stuff when you find out who their theory is who Jack the Ripper is. And it's a whole Freemason / royal family deal. Do we want to get into it? Do you want to get into the reveal and how we...
You know what? I don't know if we should spoil this because
I think we should because it's old enough.
It's old enough?
It's old enough.
Ugh. Okay, well, big reveal. Basically, Adeline puts all the pieces together and realizes it's Freemasons. And through the whole movie, he's been talking to Dr. Ian Holmes' character. What's his name?
Gull.
Okay, horrible with names. He's been getting buddy, kind of like Dr.
Trying to help him figure out, kind of like profiling, helping him profile who, because they're not sure if it's a butcher or a doctor, and Aberline is positive it's a doctor.
Which is ironic with the term Will Graham, Dr. Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, and real quick,
there's that parallel.
Yeah, real quick, just to kind of go back to the beginning really quickly, you had, as in the real case, the 5 prostitutes who all really did get murdered.
Oh, God.
And Heather Graham plays the one, Mary Kelly, who actually in real life is the worst one to be, the worst murder. I mean, completely torn apart to shreds. Nothing like the other women.
But before she gets ripped to shreds, let's talk about her for a second.
Well, no, hold on. We got to finish the beginning of the plot, though. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves, just real quick. But so it's the 5 prostitutes, or 6, I don't know however many. Their friend, once prostitute, like, started from the bottom, now she's here. Like, she went off and got married to some, like, painter. You know? Albert. A painter. Had a kid from him. A little girl, Alice. She comes up and, you know, she's got the baby. Here, hold the baby. I'm going to go see Albert. Blah, you know, whatever. Well, then you see Albert and her get dragged away.
Pulled away from their apartment by, like, a group of guys and thrown into coaches, and off they go. To
where she is lobotomized.
Yep.
And there's, you know, this really just mean, gruff-looking dude asking her, who else knows that you're married to this man? Who else knows?
Yeah, in the notes, I actually named him as Scary Guy.
Yeah, Scary Guy.
Like the whole movie, he's always hiding in the background.
Yeah, being really creepy. You know that she gives away the names of these women, thus sets up the plot of all these women to be killed. So you know it has to do with something. You're wondering, who's this Albert guy? This Albert guy, he's somebody that they don't want people to know that he got married to a hooker and had a kid. So...
Well, okay, do you want to reveal who Albert is, or do you want me to?
You can.
Okay, first off, he is Prince Albert, not the dick piercing.
That's probably what he's named after.
What is it? He's the grandson of the Queen of England?
He's the grandson of the Queen.
And come to find out, they know that he married the girl. They're pissed about that. They want to get rid of that, but they can't get rid of it completely because he has, what is it, syphilis?
Yes.
Yeah. So what happens when you put the hooker? So,
well, and they bore a child who is now in line for the throne, and they can't have that happening.
Connor being
so basically, it's a whole let's get rid of the witnesses.
Yeah,
and that's their theory of what the murders were, why the murders happened.
Yeah, why the murders happened was just to cover it up. And we find out towards the end the killer is the doctor of the royal family, who's
the physician to the queen.
Physician. Yes. His career has been ruined because someone in his charge now has syphilis.
Well, it's not really because of the syphilis. It's because he married a prostitute and they had a child that is now in line to be in the throne, and they can't have that. It has to all be bloodline related. It has to all be in royal family.
But the Ripper's main motive was to get vengeance for his career that was ruined because of him getting syphilis from the hookers.
Mm-hmm.
Which you come to find out it is Ian Holmes' character.
Yes.
And a great reveal scene to Stacy. To me, it was... You can talk about that.
Well, yeah. So, and of course, Gull, Sir William Gull, the physician of the Queen, throughout the whole movie, he's helping Aberline, because Aberline knows that this is not the work of a savage, you know, an Indian. They're saying, oh, maybe it's a Native American. Maybe it's, like these Wild West.
A butcher.
A butcher. Aberline's saying, no, this is someone very well educated and someone who knows anatomy, because they're removing uteruses and all kinds of organs and stuff and really doing it precisely and clean and stuff. And not to mention the fact that they're finding the women with grape stems in their hands and wine on their lips, which at the time were very, very expensive, and only rich people had these. They were saying, what would they call the prostitutes? Bang tails. They're like, what would a bang tail be doing with grapes? And they're like, it's a rich person. So anyways, Gull is kind of helping Aberline, saying, oh, yes, he would be a very educated man. He would have a dissection kit just like this one I have. And you're like, ooh, this motherfucker. Like, they kind of give you hints of this could possibly be the man, but maybe not, because he's really helping him.
And then they give red herrings left and right.
Yes, tons. And so then eventually you get to the reveal once Aberline figures it all out, that it's a whole Freemason thing, it's this, and he's also a very big opium addict, and he has visions of the women being murdered before they're being murdered or while they're being murdered. So he kind of knows. And he gets to the man tells him, hey, I know it's you. Oh, I'm going to kill you. And you're like, whoa, it's the fucking doctor.
It was not that obvious. It was literally him slowly playing it out in this conversation with the guy. He turns his back to him.
Yeah, I was just kind of giving the Cliff's notes on that.
And then it's like, oh, wait, maybe it's... And then you get the speech from Ian Holmes, and then you see it click, and he's like, oh,
yeah, like he turns around and is like, men will look back and say that I gave birth to the 20th century, which was like, damn, that was a good one. That was a good line. But he had these black eyes, these black contacts in his eyes. But it wasn't like a transition. He turned around and he had these, and it was a little subtle, but you could tell they were these kind of black. I couldn't really tell. I thought it was subtle. We're totally.
I thought it would have been better.
I thought it was cool. I thought it was just a cool little thing they did. And it was a very minor fault. If you.
Well, but I don't necessarily count it as a fault, depending on the graphic novel, because as we both said earlier, this was heavily influenced. Maybe in the graphic novel, they actually showed that his eyes did look different.
Yeah. And we're not too sure because we didn't read it.
If they're doing that to pay homage to it, then I am completely fine with it.
Yeah, and we don't know because we haven't read it. It just says it's very loosely based on the graphic novel. So they, had a lot more leeway to do whatever they wanted with it. But yeah, so that's kind of the movie in a nutshell. First, I wanted to say, for me, the music was amazing. It was so creepy. It was so unsettling. It was just really disturbing, especially when they were playing it when you still didn't know who the killer was, and on the gramophone, that song that was playing while he's eating the bloody steak, and you're just like, oh, like I went and saw this in theaters when it came out, and I still remember being so fucking creeped out by that scene.
Oh, well, yeah, it was the music, then also the set design, like the pictures that he had up on his walls, like, oh, wow.
Yeah, the set designs were just fantastic. The music was done by, it said Trevor Jones. I don't know who that is, but that just to give a name to the fantastic score and stuff. Cinematography done by Peter Deming. Amazing. It was just amazing. I think it was just shot so fucking well. Everything, the picture, the color of everything, just, the red's really red, and then it was just really like dark and just kind of grim.
And let's get back to the set designs, like when the graveyard scene. Mm-hmm. How well done that was. Everything really did feel lived in.
It really did. And if I'm not mistaken, I read that they went and they rebuilt the set, to the exact specifications of how those the murder locations were. They built them exactly the same. So
it looks at it, because I remember seeing like sketches of crime scenes way back when, and it looked pretty dang close to it. So.
And you got from the beginning, one of my first notes was, man, 1800s England was a shithole. Like, it was just like, it looked, at least in Whitechapel, just looked fucking just, you feel like you could smell it. It just looked terrible. It was so sketch. People were banging everywhere. People were drunk in alleyways. Like, it was just so you knew it just, was just gross.
It was gritty.
Yeah, and you felt it, like, which is what I loved.
It felt grim and gritty for everyone that lived there, except for one character.
Heather.
Of all, you literally see all these prostitutes that look rough.
Well, yeah, her group of prostitutes were just fug. They were terrible looking. The scene in the beginning of them, washing their fucking vaginas in the trough, and she's just like, oh, hi, guys. Beautiful.
This crooked, nasty yellow teeth and everything.
And she was gorgeous.
Yeah, and Mary, no, it's like, nah.
Yeah, I think in my notes I put, and of course she's the only one who doesn't look like she smells like dirty pussy.
And that was basically it. I remember that kind of pulled me out of the mood. It's like,
yeah, and plus her
look just a little bit rough, just kind of make her just look a little, just
a little,
it just looks too pretty.
Yeah,
too pretty. And I'm sorry, it kind of takes away from the realism.
She had a bad Cockney accent. It was just not very good. It wasn't done very well. And I love Johnny Depp in this, because it was pre-ugly Johnny Depp. Now crazy Johnny Depp, where he's just gross and looks weird. It was good looking Johnny Depp. He was okay. Before he looked like he smelled like cloves all the time, clove cigarettes. Before he looked like he just stunk like just disgusting cigars or something.
Yeah. I thought he acted pretty well in the role.
No, I think he was amazing. I think he just, like I said, this was felt almost like not his prime, but it was definitely when he was still good.
Still very good. I thought Mary's character.
Yeah,
I need to blame it on the actress or just the role.
No, I think it was the actress. The role.
All the girls in her group were basically death count. It's like, no, you're going to die. You're going to die.
You knew they were going to die. You know,
the only one they gave even half a character was the lesbian, which it wasn't a really good character either. It was like stereotypical kind of, oh, I'm a lesbian.
The drunk lesbian.
The drunk lesbian. That's all the character they gave her. And I was like, well, shit. Can't you do a little bit better than that?
I mean, you didn't see a lot of the kills. You saw them while they were happening, some of them while they were happening, but it was always, you were looking from the back of the Ripper. And so you couldn't see what he was doing. You couldn't see what he was doing. You could hear, and you were just like, oh my God. Like, it's going to be brutal.
There were a few on camera ones. The throat slit?
Yes, yeah. But those are like very tame compared to what they could have shown.
Oh, well, yeah, the last one, the Mary's death.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they showed more of that than they did, him freaking
when they did it, it was quick flashes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought it was I loved all of that. I loved Netley's character as the coach driver and stuff. Like, he was just so creepy.
He was one of my favorites in the movie, even though he had hardly any, scenes. I was like, dude, that's a character I want to see a movie made out of.
Yeah, and he played the role of, like, he was kind of forced to do it. You knew he was already a bad guy. He didn't want to do it. You could tell he felt bad. He just couldn't.
Say he was a bad guy. He was just an unfortunate soul that was put into that position.
Yeah, and he just wanted to be contributing to these women dying and being violently murdered. But he was either that or he died too, And he's like, and he was getting paid for it. So
yeah, and I'm trying to think of, like, Holmes's character. Well, you could give him like a role of just a mute, and he would play it perfectly.
Oh, he was so good. I mean, he's good in every role he does, but I mean, I thought he was just perfect as the just fucking creepy ass, scary old man.
But also, he was great as the kind of the mentor, the scholar, just trying to help out this man. And it's like, you really love him, and then it goes from that to this, like, oh my God, he's a complete batshit crazy.
And then he goes batshit crazy, and even the people who hired him don't fucking want to deal with him. They're like, this guy's gone off the rails. We got to get him out of here.
Especially in the Mary murder scene, where he's starting to have hallucinations of people watching him from a gallery as he's doing his great work. And I was like, oh, this guy's nuts.
He just, and like he said, he became too engrossed in it, and too much of, and even the Queen was like, this is not what I expected. I did not want him to do this.
Yeah, I wanted to take care of.
And they said, well, now he's put us in jeopardy as well. Mm-hmm. Send him off, like, we didn't want him to go this crazy. So I thought it was all just done well. I loved the theory. I thought the theory was great because, the prostitute he married didn't even know he was royal. He told her he was a painter, and maybe that was the life he wanted to live. He wanted to just be with her and be a painter. He didn't want to be, like.
Yeah, and I guess prostitutes never go to museums. You see portraits of, the royal family.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
and I do like that there were kind of not as Easter eggs, but little, hints of what's going on. Like when it went to the charity dinner. Mm-hmm. For the Elephant Man, which, let me just say, awesome seeing him.
Fantastic.
Makes you want to watch the actual movie.
Fantastic, yeah.
And it shows all the people signing checks. You see Prince Albert signing a check in his hands.
And the syphilis shakes.
Well, but you think at first, wait, that's Albert the painter. And then you're like, wait, why does he have security? I
mean, and even then, even in the beginning, you could tell he was a part of something bigger. He wasn't just a painter. He was someone important, and you don't quite get that reveal till he shows her the painting of him, and she's like, wait a minute, I know that guy. Like, yeah, no, bitch, that's a damn.
But then it makes you wonder, if Albert is like this, really rich, suave motherfucker, dude, why is he going for one of the hookers that look like ass? Go with Mary. She's the only one that looks good.
Right? Exactly. And I mean, I loved all of it. I loved the ending. I thought the ending was a little sad. It was really bittersweet. That's the perfect word for it. It was bittersweet because you wanted them, because Aberline and Mary end up falling in love, and unlike the real story, she doesn't get killed. It's someone else. So they think she's dead. She takes off. He gives her a bunch of money, and she takes off with baby Alice, and then tells Aberline, you've got my letter. When you get it, come find me over here and we can live together and get married and be happy and have lots of babies. And he said, no, I can't. I can't be with her because they're going to be watching me. The Freemasons are going to be watching me, which means they're going to know, that I'm talking to her and she is alive and I can't risk her life. So I'm just going to stay here and never speak to her again. And he never spoke to her again. And I am assuming years later, we haven't quite figured that out, but I'm assuming years later, he dies, of course.
Of an overdose. Shocking.
Yeah. But I just thought it was a little sad, like when little Hagrid goes and he kind of cries for a second. I was like, oh my goodness. Like, it was just sad. That was his bud, and it was just...
He was crying out of joy. You know why? She's beautiful, but she has a horrible accent. Opium, on the other hand, is his one true love. So he decided to stay with her.
And everybody knew. They're like, how long have you been chasing the dragon? Like, everybody knew he was a fucking addict and stuff, like...
Which I'm sure the relatives of Abilene, the real one, probably weren't that happy about that, being in the movie. It's like, no.
I don't know how much creative license. Yeah, I don't know how much creative license they took with the characters as far as,
I'm sure on that one it was a bunch.
Yeah, I'm sure because it made it, again, it's just a fake little theory from the graphic novel. So we don't, that's probably how he was in the novel. I don't know if any of our viewers have read it. Please let us know. I plan to read them sometime soon.
Also, as an amendment to this, there was a movie done with Michael Caine about the Jack the Ripper. Actually, really good one too. So you might want to check that one out.
Also, I love Michael Caine. He's creepy.
Yeah, and he plays Evelyn.
Except in Miss Congeniality. So
great movie.
Miss Congeniality.
Dude, I've seen it, and I thought his character was best. He was just an asshole.
I love that movie. Cool. I like when she has the donut in between her legs. I'm like, yeah. Anyways, we're not talking about Miss Congeniality. We'll save it for later. We'll save it for a later video, guys. That'll be one of our one-offs. It is a horror movie, technically. There's an explosion. I don't know. It's not at all.
Okay, let's see. Okay, let's talk about next week. We're going to be doing a new video.
Yes.
You want to explain
we're starting to, we want to do a new segment. I don't know if we both have been saying two different names. It's either monthly mashup or random roundup, where we just do, whichever one. Y'all let us know what you like better. Or if you've got a better name, please let us know. We have decided to...
Shotgun Saturday.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, Shotgun Saturday could be cool. Who knows? But let us know. So we've decided that he will pick a movie, I will pick a movie, and we both throw them at each other. Okay, this is what we're doing. There's no agreeing upon it. It's this is what you're doing, this is what I'm doing, and we talk about them. And it's just a little duo, like a little roundup of two movies.
And it's basically for movies that either don't quite fit with Horror Huddle as far as it might be a horror movie, but not quite to the level that we want to talk about in a full episode.
Yeah.
Or it can be something not even horror.
Yeah, so it's going to be kind of just a smorgasbord of random shit. But next week we're going to be, my pick was Holy Ghost People. And if y'all haven't seen it, go watch it. It's on Hulu right now. Go watch it so that by the time our video is up, you'll already know what's going on. And your pick was?
Misery.
Yeah, so it's just going to be fun. I haven't seen that in so long, so I'm really looking forward to watching it. I'm going to watch it tomorrow. But yeah, so be on the lookout for that. We'll have that up on the 27th.
Another thing, somewhere on the horizon. I'm not going to spoil it yet, but it looks like it's shaping up to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, we've got another fun segment coming up. It's going to be really cool. Ash is working on it right now, little intros and stuff. So it's going to be really fun. So be looking forward to that because I'm excited about doing it. But I think that's it for From Hell, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see y'all later.
Take care.
Bye.